Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you from my garden on the 2nd of November with a message that you're sure to remember. I know it sounds incredible, but our nation's disintegration is inevitable. And into tribes you will have to integrate because our nation is sure to disintegrate. So, Greg, what are you talking about? That's crazy talk. Yeah, it's crazy. Unfortunately, I see it as the truth, and I don't see any way around it. I think the momentum is there. I don't know what else this country can hope to aspire to, because the basics level of this country, the level of getting work done, is falling apart. It just so happens that, I've been running this worm farm since 2011. It is now 2019, worm farm garden operation. And I have gone through in excess of 60 wage grade people to help me. Now, some of my advice to those of you that are out there farming, if you have very engaging day jobs, it's tough to do, especially if you do like me and try to do everything under the sun of having a garden, a worm farm, and so many other things. And you'll see a lot of other growers and people tell you to do just one thing. But my vision is an integrated approach of using all these things in synergy. And so I've been trying to establish that, but that requires a lot of time and energy. So if you look at it, like I said, I've gone through over 60 people, and I've only found a handful that really worked. I mean, a handful, small handful. By and far, the large majority of wage grade people in this country will not work. In some cases, they just flat don't know how. They don't have the culture for it. The world has changed since I was a young man. When I was a young man, we used to compete with each other. Me and my friends, or whoever was working on a job, we would compete to see who could do the most work, who could outwork the other, and we could brag about it. We were happy if we could outdo the other guy, and that was bragging rights. That was something to be proud of. Today, I actually caught, well, not today or this day, but in this age, I have actually caught kids working for me actually competing and bragging about, they didn't know it, I was come up on them, bragging about who could slough off the most. I'm using good language here, trying to. Who could get away with not working, and bragging about that. And I'm hearing stories of people in factories, like we have a Polaris factory in my community here. They have a hard time hiring people. The reason being is kids, and this is not wage grade labor, this is above it. Kids they hire are hiding in the back of the plant doing all kind of crazy stuff, and they hire and fire as fast as they go. You can go to the local shops here, the McDonald's and Burger Kings, and they have permanent help wanted signs up, hiring all 3 shifts, and these signs have been up for weeks and months on end. It's just hard to hire and keep people these days. It doesn't matter what you pay even. I pay more than minimum wage here, not significantly more, but more than minimum wage for people to start out. And that's fair. I give them a lot of flexibility, but they take advantage of that. People don't show up when you need them. You just can't rely on them. And if they do show up, they're on their phones. They're doing anything but what they need to be doing. Greg, what does that mean about the country? How does that mean the country is going to disintegrate? It's simple. Our country operates on goods and services. Things have to be built and maintained. The people to build and maintain are falling off. I'm shipping worms all over the country. I'm finding postal workers even are not delivering. They're losing stuff. They're busting stuff. They play football sometimes with some of my packages, it seems. They're having issues. And, the postal workers get paid very well. And, you just got to worry. I mean, we have to maintain planes and trains and keep them flying across our planes. How does this country stay together? Greg, we got AI, we got robots. Robots going to do all the work. Don't you know that? We got robots, and we don't have to have a living wage to take care of everything. So when there's nothing to worry about, Greg, it's all fine and good. Well, you know what? I ran from this greenhouse to my house, plumbing and electrical wire conduit through the ground, through those woods. I don't think a robot in my lifetime would ever be capable of coming close to being able to do a task like that. I mean, I dug a trench through the roots and woods. It was 18 inches deep and encountered a lot of things in so doing. And there were a lot of problems with the tools that I was using. And so you just can't figure that a robot or AI is going to go in and maintain and replace wire and plumbing and work in buildings and houses and remodel and do all that custom type work. Maintain our trains, our planes, our buses, the infrastructure, especially the power grid. Our power grid is going to go down eventually if something is not done. The power grid has custom high voltage transformers. It has custom networks, the towers, all that infrastructure is unique. It does not lend itself very well to robotics, even with the best imaginable AI that we can come up with today in our lifetimes. So the idea that robots are going to go out there and take care of all that stuff is a pipe dream fantasy, and I just ain't buying it. And I have lived and worked as a programmer. I know something about programming, AI, those kind of things. And I'm just here to tell you that I don't see it. I don't see it in my lifetime, I don't see it in your lifetime. Maybe people are talking about it, but it's science fiction fantasy. It's not going to happen soon, not to that level. Yeah, factories will automate. A lot of your services that are provided by people to sit behind a desk will automate. There will be a lot less jobs in those areas. But if you know how to go out and get your hands dirty, if you know how to work, or if you know how to program, you can have work. It's out there. There's more work to be done than there are people to do it. And that's a fact, and it's getting worse. That's what's worrying me. It's getting worse, and it's getting worse. And a big part of the problem today is our culture of entitlement. And another problem is the pervasiveness of drugs. We have lost the war on drugs. And these kids that are into this stuff, they won't work. And some people are, this living wage. Some people say that's the great solution to everything. Are you kidding me? Part of the problem is the entitlement that everyone's getting already. And I can't get people to work today. How in the world can you expect you're going to find people to do work and keep this country running when you put a living wage in effect? I don't see it. I'm sure you guys are out there to debate that. Put your remarks below. You don't have to agree with me. So y'all can debate this in the remarks section, comments below. That'll be fine. I may or may not have time to respond to all that. I'm an incredibly busy guy. But I just see this country is having severe, severe problems functioning, operating. I agree, we'll have immigrants, yeah, to a point, but there's a lot of cost with that too. And frankly, I don't think that we'd be operating as a country today if it weren't for the immigrants we have, right or wrong. I'm not debating whether that should or should not happen. That's not the point of this discussion. This discussion is a discussion that you're going to have to do something. That's what I'm really aiming at. You're going to have to take action and initiative yourself to keep yourself and your family safe in the future. What do you do when a country falls apart? That's why I said when this nation doesn't disintegrate into tribes, you're going to have to integrate. You're going to have to start growing your own food. Some of you are. A lot of my viewers do that. But there's also a lot of people who do not. So that is something to consider. How are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to feed yourself? I do videos on how to grow food. Y'all don't like watching them. I get a lot of dislikes. People unsubscribe to my channel in droves when I show you how to garden. And I'm going to do some sections on planting garlic, which I've been doing. But when I show you how to eat from the trees, a lot of you just cough and sneeze. But these are vital skills to have if you want to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And just for an aside, I'm going to get back on this topic, but to grow your own garden, you need to, one, subscribe to my channel, click the update notification bell. I'm going to show you a lot of other skills out here in the coming months on prepping type topics. Living maybe out here in the woods, maybe I'll cover some of that. Bug in, bug out. There's some serious matters that we have to discuss in regards to bugging in and bugging out, or actually evacuating and bugging out. It's really two separate things. Or being a refugee, that's a whole nother thing. And we're seeing that starting to happen. What's happening in this country? I mean, look at California, man. The place is on fire. And they're cutting out the power. Yeah, that was only rhyme in the South, right? So, yeah, get back to this. Not just subscribing and banging the update notification bell to make sure you get the updates, but also you need to get some supplies yourself. To grow your garden, you need heirloom seeds. Click my link to My Patriot Supply. And you can grow inside your own home, as I do. My home's over there, especially with wild weather I'm expecting we to face. And food prices are going to shoot up. You get long-term food storage at My Patriot Supply and prepping supplies. And hey, I use a lot of worm castings. How do I get my worm castings? I've got a worm farm. You can raise your own worms to make your own castings. Recycle your kitchen waste and garbage and lawn clippings and paper. And it's better for you, it's better for the environment. And hey, even if you don't want to garden and you got worms, you can sell the worm castings. You can still recycle. You can do something to contribute to your neighborhood, your community. And that's the value of having a community, a tribe. Well, yeah, I sell worms, www.greengregs.com or greengregswormfarm.com. But tribes, integration. Why do we need a tribe? You need a tribe because you can't do everything. Everybody can't live alone in isolation. In tribes, you still can have some people that concentrate on different skills. You can have a system for mutual defense. I mean, all these kids, when everything goes down and collapses, the kids that ain't working, they're going to be the zombies. You look at them and think of them as zombie eggs. I mean, they're going to be starving to death, and they're not going to know what to do or how to act, and they're going to react, and it's not going to be pretty. You know, these people will go bonkers. The people that don't know how to maintain themselves, that won't maintain themselves, that won't grow their own, that they're going to come to you looking for something to eat, and it might be you that they're wanting to eat. I don't know, it's going to be ugly. And so you need to have communities for mutual defense. Being a lone person is not going to work. Yeah, this is going to take some time to integrate these communities. I understand that. So you have to prep individually, at least initially, but you need to start building networks, bridges, connecting them with people. If it's not your next door neighbors, maybe you need a community somewhere else. If you want to bug out, maybe you need a community to bug out to instead of just a place in isolation. And yeah, if you're going to bug out, you better have somewhere to go, or you're going to be in a world of hurt, most likely, unless you know how to stealth camp out here and not be seen, because most of this property belongs to somebody already. So how are you going to get through? Even the national parks are going to be crowded. You don't want to be seen if you're out trying to live in the woods. Everything I see on TV about stuff like that is just so wrong in so many ways. But in any event, so that's my message. Start forming communities, integrate. Get Mabee's book. I mentioned that in a recent video where I was talking, and I showed up his book. It was the things that you can do for the grid. Act Now, that video. Yeah, okay, that particular, the main point of that video is already passed, but Command Sergeant Mike Mabee, Civil Defense book that he put out. So, my friends, we are in for a tough time. I don't see much way around it. It seems to me to be incredible, inevitable, just because of the cultural momentum that we're in. How do you turn it around? How do you turn this country around? How do you cause what I'm talking about not to happen? I hope we find a way. You find a way. But there's got to be some cultural shift that would pervade the nation. It would wake people up to make them eager to do things, eager to work, eager to move things forward instead of being selfish and lazy. How do we do that? It's not coming from the school systems. It's, you know, the school systems are not helping us. They're hurting us. There needs to be some form of morality. And I'm not talking any specific religion here. I am talking morality. If you're going to go into a tribe, I hope you're all in agreement, at least one mind in that regard, not just morality, but in religion, because those are things that divide a lot of people, and you don't need a divided group. You need to find ways to ensure that you're going to have cohesion. I have my own, but I'm not on here promoting my beliefs. Not a lot of people ask me about it. And I do in my own way. It's just not the purpose of this particular channel, because this channel is reaching out across people of many beliefs with a common message of how to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. I may at some time have another channel or some other topic or venue for those matters, and a lot of you ask me about them, and yeah, I'm there. I do have faith. I am a man of faith, but I'm not out here pushing that in this venue. So I hope that those of you that think I should will forgive me of that. I do that in other venues. I try to do my job. But more than anything, morality is going to be important, because you have to have standards that people are going to work by and abide by. And the basic form of morality is trust. It's your word is your bond. If your word is not your bond, if you can't be trusted with what you say, nobody is going to take you at face value. And how can you cooperate? People aren't going to do anything for you if they can't believe in you and trust you. You got to have people to be able to believe in you, know who you are, know where you're coming from, knowing you're not going to rob them blind when you roll over or turn your back. How can you have people working for you, especially in a community where we're all living together as a family, if you got to worry about each other robbing each other or doing other things to each other? This is where it comes in. It's not just laws or legal. It's a society can't operate without that stuff, and that's part of our problem today. As a society, we don't have that. We're in a world of hurt. Now, there are professionals, there are young professionals that work hard, and those are the ones who have the motivation to excel and exceed. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, and all my kids are in that regard. I mentioned my youngest one because she's in college right now. Very motivated young individual. And my oldest kids are already working their professions, and they're all excelling and doing well. And I hope yours are too. I'm proud of my kids, my grandkids. They're all smart, young, bright, motivated people. They do exist. I'm not saying these people aren't out there. What I'm saying is the base level, the wage grade level of people in this country that have kept this country operating and maintained is a class of people that's fallen apart. Somehow we think we can ignore that. I say we can't. I say we got to bring them back alive. We've got to wake them up, make them want to be a part of this community, of this nation, of moving it forward. And the reason I say we're going to disintegrate is I don't know how to do that. I really don't, without some big cultural awakening. How do you, and all the forces right now are jerking everything hard over in the other direction. Okay, I've talked too long about this. There's a lot of related topics, and you may not even want to hear what I've just said. And I'll probably lose 100 subscribers over this video. But, my friends, we have to have tribes. That's what I'm talking to. We have to integrate. We've got to build communities. And sometimes our communities might be far-flung. There's two types of communities. There's the community of people that have the same beliefs and thoughts and exchange information. And you can do that over the internet and at conferences and maybe chapters. Locally, if you got chapters, that's good. Or you can build little cells locally of people that will cooperate. But the best thing is when you get to the point that you're actually living in a community. And so, I'm in discussion about some people like, we can't all pull up roots immediately. We've got homes and mortgages and jobs, and we got our own gardens and businesses and operations. How do you do that? It don't happen all overnight, and hopefully this country won't disintegrate overnight. Maybe, just maybe, these communities can be the cells, the nexus to invigorate, to light the fire of vision and motivation to keep this country moving forward. And I hope we do. I hope we find those means. But it's not going to happen if we just watch TV, sit on our buns and munch popcorn and do nothing. We got to get out there. We got to get engaged. We got to get informed. What do I do? Well, heck, I make videos. I'm trying to tell people that, hey, you've got to be part of the solution. You've got to be part of making things happen. And then take care of yourself first. It's like when you're on the plane, you got to put on your own oxygen mask, because it ain't going to help if you pass out while you're trying to put on the other guy's oxygen mask. It's like that. So that's why you start with yourself. But then we got to look at the community. These days kids don't want to join organizations, but organizations are a form of community. And maybe that's part of what they need for motivation. I'm sure looking at all the wild little edibles around me. Anyway, well, that's me. You got to know how to survive. And maybe these kids just need to get engaged. A lot of them come from broken homes, and they don't have the mother or the father and that kind of guidance and support, the emotional support that you would get from that. Some of them feel abandoned, rejected, and hurt by society. In fact, that's prevalent. That's more prevalent than not these days, and that's most unfortunate. So how do we pull all that together? A lot of these kids are hurting from that regard. They're hurting from the culture that has gave them a false message of materialism and other things being more important, or their own selfish immediate desires, and so they've gravitated to that. And we need to show other means, other ways, and maybe we need to build some of these ways. Maybe they can be part of the communities, and maybe some of these communities could trade in hope. Maybe they could have a section or a place where they do things for the youth, to get them motivated and interested. I mean, hey, it's fun to build stuff. To learn these skills is interesting. Maybe that can be taught to them, but they're so busy playing video games they don't know the real world anymore. Well, you're not going to build infrastructure, not going to maintain infrastructure playing video games. The skills that you get from video games are negligible, unless you're going to be a UV pilot shooting people from, you know, some basement in the Pentagon on the other side of the world. And, you know, that's, to me, that's deplorable. But in any event, my friends, yeah, that's no life. That's awful. So please do this. Start reaching out and at least considering how you would form communities. Start the discussions. Communities, tribes. I say the tribe is a basic form of human governance. That's how we lived until nation states came along. And I just don't know that we can maintain these nation states. I don't even know if counties can survive what's to come, especially when the grid goes down. You need tribes, you need communities. And hey, if it don't all go down, there is strength, there's bonding, there's community in communities. That's why they call them community. These kids these days are forming gangs to have their own community. Those are not good, positive communities. They need alternatives. Maybe we need to come up with things that are kind of like the Scouts. The Scouts used to give kids a lot of hope and something to live for and look forward to, and gave them things and goals to aspire for, to get their merit badges. But the scouting program has died, essentially, for various reasons. Yeah, there's still a scouting program, but it's not what it used to be. But I think scouting is a huge thing. I think we need to promote that and those kind of activities, and maybe other activities like it, maybe workshops, summer classes. Think about these kind of things. What can you do for the kids? That may be the starting point. Okay, I ran it on and on and on and on, and I know that's not popular with a lot of you. But we have a real problem here. It's a real dilemma. We've got to do something about it. We start on the personal level, then we reach the community level, the national level. Now, I do have hope, and because I do have hope, I also have a channel talking about space stuff. It's called Galactic Greg's, and that channel is a big channel about hope, and maybe that's one of the things that can get the kids motivated and looking forward to a future. But I see a future in which we can live and be green. If we have to hide, not be seen, I hope that's not it, or we can thrive and fly into the skies, and have a lot of things that we could do to motivate kids to keep them on track. In any event, I beat on this horse enough, and down here, looks like I got dandelion coming back finally. There's my curly dock. There's a persimmon tree. Just all kind of edibles around here. Yeah, you can eat pokes out of it, but you got to know how to do it because it's got a lot of toxicity. Turmeric growing wild in my woods. Pine trees. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I must thank you for watching this video, and hope you have a wondrous, wondrous day ahead of you, and that we figure all this out. Thank you. To infinity and beyond. And the message I have to deliver is one that will make you quiver, because